Now to a CNN exclusive, the Department of Justice may be taking steps to indict music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Two sources close to the investigation tell us that a federal grand jury may soon hear from Diddy's accusers. Since November, Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits, 7 of them directly accusing him of sexual assault.
These guys have organized a mass organized effort to slander my name behind the scenes. So every time I say something, you're just seeing my part because their part is behind the scenes. But I want you to know I'm up for it. I'm up for it. I'm anointed for it. I'm anointed to dethrone evil. I want you to know that.
He is going to jail. He is going to jail because he's going to be stopped now because it's bad boy for life to hide your kids and hide your wife because there's even more trouble on the way for Diddy because he just can't stop being sued. 2 more lawsuits were made against him by 2 women accusing him of SA and a whole lot of other things. The next thing we know, we find out that the feds were bringing him up on charges and they were convening a grand jury to arrest him on multiple charges of SA. But that's not all. Even several previous bad boy artists have banded together to expose Diddy word on the streets. They're also bringing a class action case against him. All this going down, and by the time he's done settling these cases, he's going to be in jail and broke for life.
We have learned from 2 sources that potential witnesses have been contacted and notified by federal investigators that they may be called to testify in front of a grand jury.
Y'all, I swear this Diddy situation gets worse every single day. It says a whole lot about him, and not one person has come out to stand as a character witness, to talk about how they had a great experience with Diddy. He's not a monster that everybody says he is. Even when R. Kelly got exposed, we saw several celebrities come out to try to defend him, writing letters to the judge talking about how R. Kelly is a good man and blah blah blah. But when it comes to Diddy, it's been crickets besides what CBJ and some folks that's on the payroll. But I'm not even sure if you heard this, but Diddy has been facing even more lawsuits these past 2 weeks. Not long after the video of him putting hands on Cassie leaked, 2 more women sued him for SA. For those who haven't been following the tea, a 5th woman named Crystal McKin accused Diddy of allegedly SAing her in 2003. And according to reports, she claims the rapper plied her with alcohol and possibly laced grass during their 2003 encounter, then brought her to a bathroom and forced her to her knees, demanding she suck it yet. All the reports went on to say that McKin alleged that when she refused to comply, Combs grabbed her head and forced her to perform oral action on him. She lost consciousness and awoke in a taxi to realize she'd been SA, although it remains unclear whether she meant there was an additional sub beyond the oral encounter. Now, in her lawsuit, she revealed that she and Dade met at a men's fashion week event in Cypriani, after which he invited her to his studio. When they got there, she claimed that she started drinking and they began passing joints around the group. The lawsuit said the grass was very powerful, so much so that she began to feel like she was floating, being in fear that it had been laced with another substance. Combs then made her go to the bathroom where he forced himself on her. McKinney alleged in the lawsuit after the incident, McKinney claimed she was blackballed from modeling and became so depressed that she tried to off herself in 2004. Now, a few days after this, a woman named April Lambrose claimed that she had 4 terrifying intimate encounters from the mid-1990s to the early 2000s. She accused Diddy of battery assault, SA, negligent infliction of emotional stress, and gender-motivated violence. And according to the reports, the documents also contain claims that the plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer harm, including physical injury, severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, and other consequential damages for which she is entitled to an award of monetary damages and other relief. According to the reports, the alleged incident happened while she was interning at AST Records, where Diddy also worked under Andre Harrell before going on to start his own label. The bad boy April also claimed that around a couple of years ago, Miss Lambrose was told that a video of her and seeing Combs having been recorded by him without her knowing. It said he showed it to multiple people. But that's not the only lawsuit that he's facing, because CNN recently revealed that the federal prosecutors were making plans to indict Diddy on a grand jury. According to CNN, federal investigators are planning to bring accusers of music mogul and Diddy Combs before the federal grand jury. 2 sources familiar with the probe tell CNN, signaling that the U.S. Justice Department is moving towards possibly seeking an indictment of Combs. They went on to say that possible witnesses have been notified by the investigators that they could be brought in to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City, according to one source. Bringing individuals who have filed civil lawsuits against Combs before a grand jury would mark a significant escalation in the government's ongoing investigation involving the producer and Bad Boy Records founder. But if you all think that's the end of it, you better get ready, because it turns out there are more lawsuits coming, and this time from his former artists at Bad Boy Records. Now, word on the streets is that the several artists are coming out with a class action lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of a range of things from mistreatment, stealing their masters, refusing to pay them their earned money, putting hands on them, allegedly essaying them, forcing them to work under unfavorable conditions, and a whole lot of other stuff. And given the way that we know that Diddy treats his artists, it's really not surprising Tanya Blunt, once a rising star under Diddy's Bad Boy label, recently dropped some explosive revelations about her former mentor. She accused Diddy of intentionally mismanaging her career and sabotaging it out of spite. But T didn't just make up these claims without evidence. She backed them up with documents and accounts that pointed to Diddy's alleged involvement in derailing the careers of multiple artists once signed to Bad Boy. But if you've been following the industry rumors, or her accusations just wouldn't be a shock to you. For years, whispers about Diddy and his label's dubious practices have been circulating. It's a familiar pattern. An artist signs with Bad Boy, releases a few hits, and then seemingly vanishes from the scene. Land's claim suggests that Diddy subjected his artists to such intense pressure and manipulation that many have become disillusioned and eventually quit the industry altogether. She even gave a detailed list of artists who she claimed fell prey to Diddy's antics. Mace, another former Bad Boy artist, to such intense pressure and manipulation that many have become disillusioned and finally quit the industry altogether. She even gave a detailed list of artists who she claimed fell prey to Diddy's antics. Mace, another former Bad Boy artist, has these same exact thoughts, suggesting that the downfall of many artists was due to their refusal to comply with Diddy's demands, which reportedly included some unsavory activities. Back in 1996, Tanya signed with Bad Boy Records. Given the label's immense fame at the time, it seemed like her golden ticket to success. Diddy had big plans for Tanya, and things started off with a bang. She was paired with top-tier producers and songwriters, all set to make an album under Bad Boy banner. Diddy himself was heavily involved personally producing her album, but the initial excitement soon faded as Diddy's interest in her project waned gradually. He gave it less and less attention until it disappeared from his radar completely. In an interview with the Washington Post, Tanya revealed that Diddy had utterly neglected her project, leaving it dormant for months, which eventually turned into years. As she put it, there are only so many times that you can update a song. Well, the high hopes from 1996 clashed with the harsh realities of the music industry and Diddy's erratic focus, leaving Tanya's career aspirations in a frustrating limbo. But wait, it gets even crazier. Diddy had Tanya locked in the studio cranking out tunes left and right like some sort of music-making machine. While knowing that none of it was ever going to see the light of day, she had to suffer through recording 56 songs that she wasn't vibing with, only for Diddy to pull the plug on her album out of spite. Y'all, it was a hot mess. Well, hit rock bottom after that, because the album she poured her heart and soul into was tossed aside like yesterday's news. It was enough to make anyone feel like they were drowning. She's come forward saying that she was so fed up with being ignored that she felt there was no way out. She tried to unalive herself. But thankfully, she's here today to tell her story. She said, "It was a hard decision because that was how I was able to provide and take care of my family. At the time, it was so hard it broke me. It really did. I went into therapy with bad thoughts and even attempted to unalive myself. I was in the Dallas hospital on a 72-hour watch. I had taken pills. I decided this is it." By the early 2000s, Tanya was dropped by Bad Boy Records without even a whisper of her album hitting shelves. The disappointment was crushing, and her experience with Diddy left her so disillusioned that she stepped away from the music making for a staggering 15 years. But in 2016, T made a triumphant return, this time teaming up with her husband to release new music with renewed vigor, and to nobody's surprise, she is one of the artists suing Diddy. Well, Tanya's story isn't unique. She's one of the many who have grievances against Diddy. Craig Mack, once poised to be a star at Bad Boy Records, also had a similar experience with Diddy. Sig Mack was one of Diddy's artists before Diddy even found the notorious By G, and Craig Mack's career was sidelined. However, before fading into the background, Craig was forced into working with Biggie on the remix of Flavor in Your Ear. According to reports, Diddy exploit Craig to boost Biggie's career. Neither artist was particularly eager to work on the remix because they really couldn't stand each other, but Diddy forced them to make it happen. The behind-the-scenes editing left Craig confused, which fits Diddy's pattern of using artists at the expense of others.
I noticed, like, on the remix, Flavor in Your Ear, y'all worked together.
That was just something I had to do, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's politics. Puff asked me to do it.
Yeah.
I did it. I don't fuck with that. Do it.
Well, things between Diddy and Craig got even worse when Craig changed his manager to someone he thought would be better for him. Diddy did not like this at all and asked him to fire his boss.
They had a good relationship until Craig Mack changed his manager. When Craig Mack changed his manager, Puff didn't like him for whatever reason he didn't. He told Craig, yo, if you don't fire your manager, nigga, you can't work for Bad Boy. So Craig was having problems and issues because he refused to fire his manager.
Craig put his foot down, and let me tell you, it did not sit well with Diddy. Things went from bad to worse until, you guessed it, Craig found himself kicked off the roster in the blink of an eye. But unfortunately, Craig passed away in 2018, and allegedly the executive of his estate is also involved in the lawsuit. So Diddy isn't about to get away with how he treated Craig Mack either. But even beyond them, there are so many artists in on the action, including Mace, which isn't surprising because everybody knows that Mace is not here for Diddy. Other names include All Day, the other members of Danity Kane, the members of a girl group Total, and a whole lot more. Allegedly, they're trying to get Shine and Biggie Estate to join in on the lawsuit, but Shine is a politician and believes, and he is reluctant to get dragged into any more mess. Well, news about this grand jury and class action lawsuit has the fans on edge. They believe in comments saying Diddy can try to rebrand Bad Boy to Love Records. He can change his name a million more times. He can even try to pay off his old artist, but it's not going to work his day. Reckoning has been in the making for decades. Listen, you get tired of the BS. Ma is 100% right in his story, and along with other artists that were signed to Bad Boy, it is long overdue. Diddy has always moved funny, but his money and power got swept under the rug at the end, and Diddy was behind the two biggest murders in hip-hop history. He never paid any of his artists, making Shine go to jail for over a decade now as a throwaway to the king. But I got to know what y'all feel about this. It seems like karma is doing this big one on Diddy, but do you think he's really going down? Drop your ideas in the comments below and check out this next video.